Hi guys, firstly just a quick apology, I didn't make my 18-week pregnancy update. I'm 19 weeks today, so that's just not going to happen, but I will be back on Monday with my usual pregnancy updates. So aside from that, I got an ask on Tumblr for a YouTube video, and I've been asked on Ask FM this week to talk a bit about my past, which follows up from an ask I got here a few weeks ago. And so I'm kind of going to talk about my past, I guess, which feels a bit weird because I don't normally talk out loud about things, but we'll have a go. So I guess from the outside of my childhood, up until I was about 16, was pretty rosy. I danced, I did tons of extracurricular activities. I always did well in school. My family are quite privileged, so I've always been able to have what I want, and I've been on nice holidays and I've travelled all over the world, and so yeah, from the outside it was always quite lovely, I guess. And I have two younger sisters, and I guess their lives kind of project the same image of being quite lovely and privileged and happy, so I guess that kind of tells you what my life is for other people. But I think what people are interested in is the other side of things, and I've talked about this a bit before. I guess people know about my anorexia and depression and issues of self-harm and mental health issues, and people vaguely know about there has been abuse in my life, so I guess I'll kind of address that. When I was 4, I think I must have been 4, my mother met my stepfather, who is my sister's father, and I was 4 years old. I don't really know who I was at that point in regards to developing a personality that can be compared to now, I suppose, but I was, your average 4-year-old, did ballet, went swimming, played football, had friends. It was, normal. And by the time I was 5, he had started to abuse me in, when they fall into categories of sexual, physical and emotional. He kind of covered all those categories, I suppose you could say. And that abuse continued solidly throughout my childhood and my early teenage years until I met Harrison, and it all kind of came out with the help of him and a friend at the time, who encouraged me to tell my mum when I was 14, and then it was disclosed to the police. I had my first interview with the police on Halloween, the year I was 14, so must have been 2009, I think, Halloween 2009. So yeah, and that's something that I don't really struggle with it now. I've come to terms a lot with it. It's something I struggled with for a long time because of an aspect of blame that I think is quite normal with sufferers of abuse, that you think that it's your fault. Especially as I became older and he and my mother separated, and I would still go to his house out of choice with my sisters. I didn't have to go, but I would still go to his new house to protect them, which is what was going on in my head. And so whatever happened after the age of 12 to 14, for those 2 years, I genuinely believed was my fault, because I didn't have to be there. And that was something that was very difficult for me for a very long time. And it's only quite recently, within the last 2 or 3 years, that I've managed to come to terms with that and not blame myself anymore. But at the same time, a lot of the, I guess, stereotypical things that they say happens to abusers has, happened to me. I developed an eating disorder. I have massive problems with trust and building relationships, and that's, psychologically quite normal. And yet I think because it happened at such a young age, mean, I don't really know how my life would have been had it not been for the abuse. And so I still have a very big struggle with, do I want to give him that much power that he still has that much effect on my life? That I'm almost 22 and I'm still battling with an eating disorder. Will I really give him that power over me to kind of dictate where my life is going? And I still very much believe that I don't know who I would have been had it not happened. So therefore I will not blame him for what I'm battling today. That's something that I don't want him to be a part of, because I can't really fix that. I can't talk to him and I can't reason with him, so yeah. So that's something I still battle now, and I guess that's something that I'm going to be battling in the future. But aside from that, I guess I developed anorexia when I was 8. So from the ages 8 to 14, anorexia kind of ran with the sexual abuse and emotional abuse. I had my first hospitalisation when I was 12, almost 13. I then got out. I met Harrison when I was 14, as I've said before. And then promptly relapsed when I was 15, and have been in and out of hospital and different outpatient programs ever since. So that's 7 years. So the past 7 years have been pretty consistent as far as my eating disorder, kind of fluctuating weight, always kind of being in treatment. What else can I tell you? So when I was, I guess, 17, I started down the path that would eventually lead to what my psychiatrist and my doctor and my medical notes now read as I had a mental breakdown aged 18. And I kind of started on that path at 17, I suppose. And my life got very out of control. My relationship really suffered, and we ended up splitting up for a bit when I met another guy who was extremely abusive. And during that period between about 18 and 19, just a kind of a year-long period, I took a lot of drugs. I drank a lot. I dabbled in the world of sugar daddy, sugar baby dating, and escorting. And my life was really out of control up until I fell pregnant when I was 19. And that really kind of saved me, and I kind of, since then, I've been in treatment, where I worked a lot on kind of picking apart my behavioural patterns and my triggers and relating them back to my past. So, for instance, I suppose a lot of my issues with my sexuality and kind of being overtly sexual and having things where I kind of had a bit of a power rush, stripping and dating older guys and getting a lot of money for it, because it was me owning my body and being able to say no and exploiting to a certain extent men, which has been linked by me and my therapist back to the abuse when I was younger. So so I worked a bit on that. I don't know, I find it really difficult to talk about my past, because there's all these things, that the abuse, the anorexia, the mental breakdowns, the hospitalisations, that I guess in many ways kind of define where my life has been going and what I've been doing at the time. But actually, I think if I talk about my past in an honest sense, I'm more likely to remember the friends I've had, and lost quite a few of them. I'm more likely to know that I did extremely well in my GCSEs and A-levels, despite not really going to school much, because I was really struggling by that point. And I talk about dancing and football and swimming and gymnastics and cheerleading and all the things that I did, and my horses who I loved. And when I look back at my past, I kind of, rather than see my past as littered with abuse and eating disorders and hospitals, I see it more like the things I was good at, the things I love to do, the art and the cross-country team and all those kind of things that I loved to do when I was younger and things I was good at. And then dotted in between, I noticed the hospitalisations because, you know, they got in the way a bit. So, yeah, this has been a really awkward video. And being vaguely careful about what I say because I'm aware that my sisters and their friends have access to my blogs, and I'm also aware that, you know, family members and other people just can find me, and it's sensitive subjects to an extent. So yeah, I guess if there's anything you want to know, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. Either I'll type it if you write it in a comment box or on Ask FM or Tumblr, or I will make another video if you have something specific you want to know and you want me to properly talk about. I'm more than happy to do so because I realise that this video has been quite crap. But yeah, I guess that's kind of about my past a bit, vaguely. So yeah, if there's anything you want to know, don't hesitate to ask me. But I guess this is my update for now. Thanks for watching.